In the previous video on work-life balance, we discussed some of the changes one should make in their work life to ease some of the stress and burden from work. But there's two sides to this coin. What we do at work and also what we do in our personal lives. Work-life balance doesn't start and end at the office. Our choices outside of work also play a large role in determining our work-life balance. A lot of people tend to ignore the personal side of the equation and then wonder why their work-life balance is in the gutter. A lot of this information you probably already know, but it still bears repeating. I've added timestamps as usual, so you can just skip to the ones which are relevant to you. I hope you enjoy the second half of the work-life balance guide and maybe learn something that can help you. Alright, let's dive in. The first and most important thing is going to be your health. And this is really split into two pillars, physical and mental. I really shouldn't even have to say this, but if you want to be an effective SWE, then you need to take care of yourself. If your health is in the gutter, your work will be in the gutter. It will start spilling over into your work life and start dragging you down. The opposite is also true, by the way. At the most basic level, you need to do these simple things that so many people tend to overlook and end up paying the price for. The first is sleep. Sleep 8 hours a night. You need sleep. You use your brain to a high level on a daily basis. It needs time to rest and recover. Stop sleeping like shit and then wondering why you can't focus the next day. 8 hours of sleep. Cut the screen time before bed, don't drink caffeine too late in the afternoon, and don't have too big of a dinner. Optimize your sleep routine and watch it pay dividends for you. Next up, nutritious food. Let's cut to the chase. As a software engineer, especially one working at Meta, you are paid a ton of money. Even if you're an E3, you're still making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. You have absolutely no excuse not to feed yourself with the best high-quality food you can afford. Stop eating garbage processed food and crap with ingredients in it that you can't even pronounce. This is especially true for those of you in the United States. Let's cut the bullshit. The food standards and the quality in the USA is disgustingly low. Ultra-processed foods everywhere, hormones and chemicals in the meat and dairy. Cut all of that out. Go to Whole Foods and get some organic food. Eat healthy and watch how you will feel better as a result. Take care of your body and it will take care of you. You cannot expect to put the cheapest fuel in a Ferrari when you go to the petrol station. So cut the crap food out and go for the premium grade stuff. You'll hit your wallet a bit harder, but your health, without it, you are nothing. Next up, exercise. On the same vein as the previous two, you need to take care of your body physically. This means hitting the gym consistently. Not only are you going to be keeping your body active and fit, but you're also helping blow off steam and reduce stress. I can't tell you the amount of times I've been so stressed to the teeth at work and then gone for a long run and felt amazing afterwards. It's amazing how many of your problems melt away after a good workout, and the mental clarity you get from the endorphin rush can really help you get unblocked on problems you might be puzzled on at work. Last item on the list is vitamin D. Get outside and get some sun. Get some sunshine on your face and your skin. Get that vitamin D production going. It does wonders for your mood and well-being. Don't be stuck inside all day behind a computer. Go for a little walk, get some sun, breathe some fresh air. Leave the AirPods at home. Listen to the sounds of the birds in the trees, the rattle of the leaves as the wind blows. Humans were meant to be outside in nature. Get out of your chair and in the office and get outside. Build walks and time outside into your day-to-day routine. With the physical out of the way, let's also discuss the mental side. This isn't really an exhaustive list, as I could probably go on all day, but here's just a few of the big ones. And this is really something that people in our generation struggle with a lot, given the advent of the internet and social media. I think we know that these things drastically affect our mood and well-being, but we just can't seem to get away from them. The first is obviously social media, and let's be honest, most of the time on it, the stuff is absolute garbage. It provides little or no benefit to your life, and it only makes it worse. And this is coming from someone actively working at Meta. Let's be honest, we all know how bad it is. Uninstall the apps, get away from it, block the sites on your browser. If you do want to check in, then just create a hard rule for yourself. Say, okay, I'm going to allow myself to check Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, once a week on a Friday for an hour. Create that boundary and stick to it. It's hard, I know, but there's nothing that kills your focus at work more than being on social media during the day. Doom scrolling will only make you depressed and destroy your ability to concentrate. Don't willingly give yourself TikTok brain rot. Just put the phone down and focus. The second is politics. Has anything ever really come out of discussing and keeping up with politics? Regardless of whichever side of the political spectrum you're on, the answer is probably no. Nothing ever good comes from it. It's an attention and focus black hole and can definitely consume you if you let it. I know it's hard. Trust me, I love my geopolitics podcast more than anything. I love this stuff. It's extremely interesting to me, and I won't lie about it. But I would be lying if it said it doesn't affect me mentally. There's just certain things outside of your control, and worrying about the constant churn of news, real or fake for that matter, can only drag you down. The way I do it is just to set a defined rule for myself, like I mentioned earlier. I'll only allow myself to listen to my favorite podcasts on my commute to and from work, when I'm out walking the dog, whether I'm washing up dishes or just doing housework. Don't let it spill into the work hours or personal time. It's never worth it. Especially don't get dragged into political debates at work. There's definitely some nut jobs who love to stir the pot at work with political crap. Just avoid these people and conversations like the plague, and your mental health will be better for it. Trust me. The next item is something I like to call removing the chaos. It's simple to understand that if your personal life is a mess, then your work life will be too. One spills over into the other, and the opposite is true as well. For this reason, we want to make sure that we give ourselves the most stability and calm at home so we can transfer that to the workplace as well. This is probably one of the hardest ones to do because it involves some hard personal choices. A lot of the time, chaos in our lives comes not just from ourselves, but from other people. And sometimes these people are close family. We can easily cut out that one friend who, let's be honest, is a bit of a waste man, isn't really doing anything with their life. But what happens when it's our family or our close circle that are the problem? On one hand, we don't want their problems to spill over into our lives and affect us, but we also can't just remove them or our contact with them entirely. It's important to cut out as much chaos as possible and make the hard decisions that come along with this. Take stock of all the factors contributing to stress and chaos in your life. Maybe it's a partner that you just don't get along with. Maybe it's family that intrude into your life. Maybe it's those old friends who just keep holding you back. Take an objective look at all of the chaotic irritants in your life and formulate a plan to get rid of them. It's hard, I know. It won't really be that easy. Some will fight you tooth and nail for it, but you've got to do it. The more disruption that you have externally, the more it will affect your mental well-being and your work life. The stress that you carry from your personal life will seep into your work life and start affecting you. You won't be able to think straight. You'll be preoccupied, more irritable. Once you've identified the source, cut it out. Sometimes you may have to physically remove yourself from the situation as the only way out. Move out of town, change states, change countries if it's bad enough. Just don't let other people's chaos ruin your life. One of the most important ways to stay sane and maintain a good work-life balance is to shift your mindset about work. A lot of people come into FAANG and then get shackled by the golden handcuffs. They let the number on their pay slip and in their bank account go to their head. They'll start living large and way beyond their means. Lifestyle creep and the hedonistic treadmill. While it's important to enjoy the fruits of your labor, it's also important not to put yourself in a position where you're absolutely screwed if you lose your job. Accept the reality that your employment is not an infinite and fixed thing. You can wake up one day without a job and income coming in. Prepare yourself for this reality and accept that one day the sunshine will end and you will need to be prepared for the rain. Don't tie your identity and well-being to your employment. When it's taken away, voluntarily or involuntarily, you will be devastated. Understand that the work is just work and don't get married to it. Maintain a healthy separation and don't get too invested. Especially now that we're in the area of constant big tech layoffs, you never know whether you're going to be next. Don't put all your hopes and dreams into this one company. Have financial contingency plans if you lose your income. Don't live beyond your means and stretch yourself thin with debt obligations that you can't afford. There's nothing that will slaughter your work-life balance and mental state more than worrying about money and your job. Don't put yourself into this position if you can avoid it. The final item on the list is to make sure that you actually take breaks. We're only humans, we're not machines. We need time to rest and disconnect from work. We cannot stare at a computer and write code day in, day out for weeks and months on end without affecting our mental well-being. Make sure you take advantage of the PTO time you were given and use it to properly disconnect from work. Take a long vacation. Get away from your day-to-day routine. After 6 months of grinding hard per half, most likely you're going to be close to a state of burnout. You're capping your productivity by doing this. Your brain will just be too saturated and fatigued to operate at its full capacity. Use that time off, book a nice holiday, and get away from things for a week or more. And just watch how refreshed and energized you are when you come back versus to how you were when you left. And there you have it. That's the end of my advice and tips for maintaining good work-life balance and handling the stress of being a SWE. I could go on about these points, and there's just so much that I could discuss, but in the interest of time, I tried to be succinct as possible across the two videos. If there's something else you'd like me to touch on, then let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to discuss and perhaps make follow-up videos. Hope you enjoyed the content, and here's towards a better work-life balance and a calmer life. Thanks again for watching to the end, and I will, of course, as usual, see you in the next video. Bye.